All right, so hopefully you watched that and found it kind of funny because they're screaming without making much noise. So, this primal scream kind of therapy was developed as an example of what we would call a catharsis. This term is something out of Freudian theory where he said that you don't have to actually express your strong feelings towards the actual target to get relief from the strong feelings that you're feeling. So let's say that your boss has, really infuriated you. You're really angry, but you need this job and you can't quit. So you don't want to yell at your boss and get all your anger out at them. So instead, you experience a catharsis. Maybe sit in your car and scream. In the 80s, they would tell people, get in your car, roll up your window and just scream and, get it all out. Get at the catharsis, and it'll get rid of all those stress hormones and all the anger hormones, and you'll feel better afterwards. It's the premise. I always forget to click. The idea of a catharsis sounds kind of smart, right? It's like, well, yeah, I mean, going for a run, I'll feel better afterwards. That technically is not a catharsis. It's much more of a displaced aggression. But let's just say, oh, that makes sense to me. Screaming in my car, well, that makes sense. Just I feel like I need to scream at someone, and so I'll just do it in my car, and I'll have the scream, and the fact that it wasn't directed at the person I'm actually angry with doesn't matter. It's just that I got to have the scream, or I got to punch something. And it doesn't matter that it's not the right, the thing I'm actually angry about. Well, it turns out that this is not the great idea that we briefly thought it was. So aggression is this little line here, right? So aggression actually goes down when the anger is being expressed directly to the frustrating person. So for example, if your boss has yet again changed your schedule with like 24 hours notice and you're supposed to appear at work ready to go, and you're like, I thought I had tomorrow off, and you're really frustrated, and you really want to yell at them, but you can't yell at them, you need the stinking job. Just expressing with them that you're angry, like maybe tomorrow during break, I'd like to talk to you, and then you sit down with your boss and say, be telling me the night before that I need to work. I mean, I had a doctor's appointment planned and other things, and it's making it really difficult for me to live my life and work at this place. I have other things I need to get done. Is there any way that we could work on this or do something else? Speaking directly like that reduces aggression. Engaging in a catharsis where you sit in your car and scream, or you scream into a pillow, or you punch a punching bag and whatever, that tends to increase aggression. So actually sitting down and trying to have a calm talk, which is really hard. When I'm really angry and I want to have a calm talk, how often do I end up crying? Very frustrating. But sitting down and having even a calm talk that turns into crying is much better for reducing aggression than displacing through what we call a catharsis. What can happen when you scream or punch or do these other things is that it becomes kind of a feedback loop. So every time you feel aggressive, you want to do that again. You want to punch or scream. And then it escalates and escalates. And then you ultimately might end up lashing out. It doesn't reduce the aggression. It actually might increase it. And it definitely increases your need to express that aggression. So catharsis kind of, I don't know, cognitively, it makes sense to me. Yeah, get it out. But if you can do it in much more of a displacement that is like a positive internalization of the feelings that you're having, so that tomorrow you could directly express your anger towards the person that you're, share with them how you're feeling and what you like that in a calm way, that goes a lot farther to reducing aggression. Other learned inhibitions. One of the things that people experience is something called aggression anxiety. That's a feeling of anxiety about feeling aggressive. Like it makes me feel anxious to know that I could lash out. This kind of anxiety is much more common among women. It's much more common among children of both sexes that come from middle-class homes. It's much more common among children of both sexes whose parents use reasoning and withdrawal of affection as disciplinary techniques. So a person who experiences aggression anxiety may take steps to try and avoid the feelings of anger that can lead them to feel aggressive. which isn't really healthy, right? Avoiding the situation is not really the healthy way of coping with the situation, right? So instead of bogging down in this sense of anxiety that I might be aggressive and I'm just like, I don't even want to be in the situation because of the way I might act in the situation, it's much healthier to actually address the source of the anger and deal with it head on. And that actually dispels the aggression much more effectively. I'm going to do a little peek ahead here. Yeah, see, this is my last slide. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish up here rather than stopping, even though I'm at 15 minutes. I try to make these not, oh no, I'm not at 15. I can't read. I'm at 5. Perfect. Keep going. Sorry. So learned inhibitions. Another one would be pain cues from the victim. Sometimes when a person is really angry and they lash out in what, they think is just sort of a display of anger, but it's actually harming the victim. If a person's feelings get hurt by words, a lot of times they'll sort of wince or their body posture will change and it's getting to them. Or of course with physical, aggression, we may see evidence that this is actually hurting the victim. They might say, ow, they might, shield their face. There's a lot of things that they might do that's showing that they're experiencing pain. So it could be psychological pain or it could be physical pain. When the aggressor is extremely angry, like they've lost it really, seeing pain cues from the victim can actually increase their aggression. It can make them actually want to hurt them even more. And so they'll keep going with the name calling or the put downs, or they'll keep going with the physical attacks or whatever it is, because it's actually fueling their anger as they're watching this victim show pain or, these kinds of cues. When the aggressor is not overly angry, a lot of times seeing pain cues from the victim will sort of snap them out of their aggressive mindset where they're like, okay, I'm getting out of hand. I need to knock this off, right? Like I'm not trying to hurt this person. I'm trying to just get them to see my side or recognize, the level of frustration I'm experiencing or whatever. So pain cues from the victim, it depends on the mindset of the aggressor, whether it will increase or decrease the aggression. So as the victim of potential aggression, I don't know if there's a lot a person can do about revealing that they're experiencing pain, because some pain you just can't, psychological or physical pain, you can't really control how your face displays it and things like that. But as an aggressor, potentially, we all get angry. We all want to lash out sometimes. As an aggressor who's not overly angry, it's a great time to take a moment and instead of hurting the other person psychologically or physically, stop for a second and think, I'm actually pretty angry. Maybe I need to use one of my better strategies for dealing with this, feeling of wanting to aggress, and come back and have this conversation later when I can be a little bit more calm. That's a tricky one. When we're in the middle of an argument with somebody else, saying, you know what, I need to take a little bit of break because I'm starting to get a little too angry, can oftentimes make the other person feel like, no, you can't leave. We need to resolve this. And then you can be like a trapped animal. Like I need to leave, but your reluctance to let me leave. And it can be difficult to extricate yourself if you're in the middle of an argument that you're worried might escalate. If you're seeing cues in your conversation partner that they're starting to build into extreme anger, that's also a great time to say, you know what, we need to take a break before we get upset and say things we don't mean, or do something that we don't mean to do. So your textbook talks about a lot of this stuff in great more detail. I just wanted to make sure that I hit on some of the high parts that I thought were really important for you guys as humans, and then also as students in this class. So hopefully I hit enough of the high points and you can read the book for the rest of it. So, all right, well, that concludes chapter 10. So I will next see you in chapter 11.